was described to me by my GP at the time that I was going through domestic abuse, and he said, I don't know why I didn't pick it up. I feel so guilty that I didn't recognise it. And then he said, but you were really good at hiding it. And I think that's the problem, that people do try to cover up what's happening. So even the victim is complicit in covering it up. So I think for faith leaders it's really difficult, because they only see what the victim wants them to see. When you're suffering domestic abuse, it feels like if anybody finds out about it, all of your control, which you probably don't have in the first place, has gone. So it's the most frightening thing that somebody will become aware, and you will then end up having to try to protect yourself and potentially your children from the perpetrator, from other organisations. It just feels like it will be a mess. So actually, it sounds silly, but the only safe way is to keep it to yourself. Once you actually realise that's not working, that's the start of the process of getting help. But you have to reach that point first. We've changed the name of our refuges to intensive support centres, because actually it's not about a building, it's about what you do inside the building. And I think Polly Neat from Women's Aid described it recently in an article in The Guardian as refuges are the intensive care units. If you relate it to health, they're the intensive care units of our services. They're for the very high end at risk victims that nothing else is going to be able to protect them with. So it is about the support, it's not about the building, but it's about what you do while people are staying with you. And for instance, in our centres, we do a lot of work with people on building their self-esteem. We deal with all the practical issues. There are often debts, there are often legal issues going on that they have to deal with. We look at it as a holistic service. We're not just dealing with one thing. A lot of people have problems with substance misuse, with mental health. They're struggling with depression. They've been isolated for so long, they find it difficult to socialise. You're dealing with all of those things, and at the same time that they've got all of these things going on, they're out of their comfort zone. They're in a place they don't know with people they've never met before. They're obviously struggling to cope, and they've got children sometimes that they're trying to parent. It just feels overwhelming. So we're the people who just cushion that and try to be the support that keeps everything together so that they can deal with all of the other problems. It's being aware, it's actually doing some homework on what domestic abuse will look like and how it will portray. And to some extent it's different, but there are similarities in every case. And I think if you can see that someone's struggling, it's just being open to the idea that there might be stuff going on at home that they're not easily going to be able to talk about, and just opening a door to that. And I've spoken to a lot of faith leaders who've had to deal with domestic abuse and have said they don't know how to start the conversation, they don't know how to ask the questions. And then when somebody says, actually, yes, that's what's going on, it's the fear of actually making things worse. So I think looking into what services are available in your area, trying to facilitate some sort of networking between the church and the services, that's really important. And having a dialogue and being able to refer and know what you're referring into. Anybody can be a victim. So it might be someone in one of the youth groups who's suffering at home. It might be an elderly person, it might be a male victim, and it's being open to all of the different aspects of domestic abuse and the way that it plays out. And actually it's hard because you don't want to put people into a position where you're making things worse, but until people see that there's another way and you're able to present them with options and say there isn't just you've got to get up and leave this minute. There are other options. There are ways that we work with people in their own homes. Even when they're still with an abuser, we will meet them somewhere else, or they can come into our drop-in centre and we'll see them here. They don't have to have made that decision. They can be thinking things through, still engage with a service. They can have counselling to help them make a decision. There are lots of options. It's not just saying you've either got to leave or you've got to just stay and put up with it. And I think there is a fear with faith leaders that interfering in someone's marriage is almost fundamentally against our faith. But it's a contract. Marriage is a contract, a relationship is a contract. And if one person is breaking that and won't go away and think about how to put that right, then actually it's broken forever, because it's never going to work.